Volatile organic compounds are the source of bad odors. And that's what this device is designed essentially to do, is to take the bad odors out of the air. So what I'm doing is I'm putting in the bag now, but I'm going to be putting the BioChar in. This is the container of BioChar. What I do is I scoop down in, and I get a scoop of the BioChar. I pour it down inside of the bag, and I get some more BioChar. And I pour it down inside the bag until I've essentially got the bag full. The source of BioChar is wood, and it's wood that is harvested in the forest from overstocked forests. Thin the forest down to reduce the wildfire hazard. You take the wood, the residual wood, to a BioChar production plant, and you run that wood through the plant, which essentially cooks the wood at higher than 400 degrees. You also keep oxygen out of it. If you had oxygen in it, it would light on fire and burn into ash. So you cook the wood in the absence of oxygen, which is the same way you make charcoal. But here what we're trying to create is BioChar. BioChar inside the production facility just has to cook for quite a while in the absence of oxygen. What you're left with are chunks of wood. If you start with something that is chipped, which is the origin of this wood, then put into the cooker, then when it came out, it was in chips. So these pieces of BioChar that you see here are really fine. And all pieces of BioChar will do the same thing. They will all absorb volatile organic compounds. And it's those volatile organic compounds that you're attempting to get out of the air. It makes the air cleaner. Volatile organic compounds are the source of bad odors. Capture them out of the air and you have fresh air without the odor. And that's what this device is designed essentially to do, is to take the bad odors out of the air.
Does it do bacteria and...
It's possible that it will capture some bacteria, but it's not for that specific purpose. So it's very, very fine particles that are organic in nature, it will absorb. But I've not seen studies that address the issue of bacteria. I've been focused on volatile organic compounds because I want to take the bad odors out of the air. That's what I've been focused on. What we do next, once we've got it inside of a bag, is we pull the bag out. We use a zip tie to tie it off. And you can see how fine the particles of BioChar are because they'll start making it through this really fine bag. And that doesn't create a problem for the BioChar being active and doing what it needs to do. It just makes it kind of a dirty job. So the next step in building a Whiffer Zapper, once you've got the BioChar, it is ready essentially to put inside of the Whiffer Zapper bottle. So what we do then is we just move it down in, kind of squish it around a little bit. The fact that the bottle's only about a third full is not an issue. In fact, it's just fine because that much BioChar is going to work for probably 2 to 5 years for the level of odors that are coming into contact with the BioChar. So once it's in the bag and inside of the Whiffer Zapper bottle, the next step then would be putting on the lid. The whole purpose of the fan is to pull air up through the BioChar, coming through these holes around the bottom of the Whiffer Zapper. Pull the air up through, the volatile organic compounds get captured by the BioChar, and this fan is only to pull the air through and make it work more efficiently. You then put this on the bottle and you've got essentially a Whiffer Zapper. We also put on a label on the bottle itself so that a finished product looks like this, with the fan on the top, the holes in the bottom, and pulls the air through and cleans the air. And that will last for 2 to 5 years. We also provide, as a general rule, a very small source that is a scent. So what the owner would do then is when they get the bottle, they would open up the scent itself from the bag, place it down inside the bottle, and then go ahead and close it up again. It is ready to go, and that source then could be replaced if you wanted to with something that is a scent that you like from an essential oil. It comes with a USB, runs off of 5-volt USB source. You can plug in this to your standard outlet and the fan operates continuously. In our particular home, we like to just shift it from room to room periodically, let it run for a day or two in a room and then shift it to another room. So we run one of these in our house continually. That's the way we do it at our house. Right now we have 2 sizes of Whiffer Zapper. We have the larger one and also a smaller one. The reason that we have a smaller one is that sometimes people have a smaller area that they're trying to take bad odors out of. For instance, an automobile. And if you have a car that's not smelling great, you can put this inside the car. If you don't need the charger plug, then you unplug this and you just charge this put it into your 5-volt source inside your car, your USB plug. And then this will run continuously as long as there's power coming to the USB source. So we have people who have cars that are really not smelling great, and they'll buy one of these, put it in, and leave it for a few days, and the smell is captured inside of the BioChar in the Whiffer Zapper. Another place where people find these things, we got one client owns a hotel. She uses the bigger ones to clean up rooms after people have gone into the rooms and smoked. As soon as she learns that there's a room that's been smoked in, then she'll grab one of these, take it to the room, put it in it and leave it for about 3 hours. And then she's able to pull this out. The smell of the smoke is gone and she can rent the room for the night. This makes a huge difference for her. She's got 100 rooms in her hotel and she now owns, I think it's 20 of these. She also has public restrooms for the men and the women, and she puts one of these in each of those restrooms, and it keeps the restroom from building up bad odors. Other people use them in a specific spot, like a small kids' room. If the kids are constantly creating odors in the room, they'll put one of these in and just leave it and let it go all the time. And that helps them with controlling odors in that room. So depending upon how much space they're trying to treat to get rid of the odors, you may want to have one of the bigger ones, or you may want to have one of the smaller ones. They do the same function.
So what if you only had a smaller one and you put it in a big room? Would it just take longer, or would it maybe not work?
It will work, but it takes longer. The thing that happens if you put one of these in, it's really a function of how bad is the odor. If the odor is not very bad, then this will take care of it and work adequately. It's the same thing that happens with this one too. So the size of the room matters. We've got one client who has a bar. It's a pretty significantly sized bar. And it kept having bad odors in it until he put one of these down low near where people are sitting most of the time, and one of them up high above the bar. 2 of them in a very large space satisfied his problem. So that's what he was handling it in that fashion. A smaller one doesn't pull as much air through, so it's not going to clean as efficiently, I guess you'd call it, as the bigger ones. But if you've got a small space, you don't have to have a large volume that's turning over. It works really well in an RV, in a camper, in a pickup, in a car, those kind of things, enclosed spaces where odors happen to come from. That's another spot where the smaller one works really well.
And where can somebody go get one?
So one can purchase these now on whifferzapper.com. You go in and you'll be able to find both the small and the larger size available for purchase on whifferzapper.com.